this is Angela with Parkrose Permaculture. I am at Portland Nursery on Southeast Stark Street here in Portland, Oregon. It is a rainy evening. I'm picking my eldest kid up from work. She works here. It's basically her dream job and she really loves it. But I thought as long as I'm here, I would show you around and talk about some of the things that are available in nurseries this time of year that you should be considering planting now. Now, Portland Nursery is a local family-owned business. They have 2 locations, and they're just such a wonderful, wonderful business. They contribute a significant amount to all kinds of local gardening, charitable organizations, to school gardening programs, other nonprofits. They're super active in the community and just a really, really great company that I like to support. I love shopping here. My kid really loves working here. So even if she didn't love working here, I would totally talk them up. But my appreciation for them has grown even more now that I have a family member who works here and reports it's a really positive and nurturing work environment. And she's learning tons and having a really good time. So as long as I'm here picking her up from work, I'm a little bit early. Let me go show you around because there's quite a few things now in March that you want to be thinking about getting in the ground here right now or in the next couple of weeks. And nurseries are starting to stock those things. So I know I've done a number of nursery tours in the past and folks have given me a lot of positive feedback about those, especially in pointing out things that I think are great to put in your garden at this time of year. So let's go walk around and see what they have available, understanding that it is the 3rd week of March now and their selection of plants is constantly changing. But particularly, let's take a look at some of the perennials and perennial edibles that are really ready to be put in the ground right now, that nurseries are stocking them, and now is a prime time to be thinking about where to situate them in your garden and get them in the ground and think about what kinds of support plants you want to surround them with. Before you go in, take a few moments and walk the demonstration garden that flanks the sidewalk in front of the nursery. This is a really lovely, mature planting, but they rotate in and out all kinds of things, and it's such a good place to walk multiple times a year to get inspiration for what you can do in your garden. Portland Nursery is situated in the middle of a residential neighborhood, and be aware in the late spring and early summer, and especially on weekends, it is really busy here and parking is at a premium, so plan accordingly. Here you can see a large mature hebe. I am a big fan of them for my planting beds in my borders. Now, this Edgeworthia is absolutely stunning. It's a rare, deep orangey red color. I have a video that I did last spring about the 2 Edgeworthia that we have. A really gorgeous plant that does super well in the Pacific Northwest and provides beautiful flowers and fragrance really early in the year, and a really lovely architectural kind of fractal look to it. Everywhere in this nursery is inspiration for what you can do in your garden. When you first step in, there's lots of decorative displays showcasing the plants they have in stock around the nursery. The first greenhouse to the left features kind of hothousey plants and some ceramic pots and things like that. But what we're here for today is along the back wall where they stock all of their kind of tubers and corms and things like that that are in season and should be planted now. In the fall, it's got potatoes and garlic, but this time of year, it's got those flower bulbs. Folks have been asking a lot in local gardening groups when to plant your dahlias out. Now, do it now, anytime between now and May. And they have quite a selection of dahlias, as well as many other bulbs and corms that should be planted this time of year. Now, dahlia bulbs are edible, although they're a bit of a zombie apocalypse food, but be aware, many of the decorative flowering bulbs that we grow in our garden are toxic, so be careful and make sure you know how to differentiate them from edible tubers and bulbs in the garden. It is definitely the time to be planting your crocosmia and your gladiolus, which they have in abundance. Outside, the first thing we encounter is the blueberry collection. Now, this is an evergreen blueberry here, but they have many, many kinds of blueberries. In fact, Portland Nursery is known for its giant selection of blueberry varieties of early, mid, and late season. Just be aware, if you aren't in the Pacific Northwest and you are planting your blueberries, they do need a soil pH of 4.5 to 5.5. Here, we don't need to amend them because our soil is already really acidic, but where you are, they will not flower and bloom if the soil is too sweet. So now is the time to be planting blueberries. It is also the time to get those strawberries in the ground, and they have many selections. This is a variety I don't have, Eversweet. I'm thinking of adding it. They have really nice signage around the garden showing you what varieties they have in for that year everywhere in their fruit collections. I find it really helpful to check the signs. Late March and early April is the time to get all of those perennial fruits in the ground that we so love in the Pacific Northwest. Cane fruits are no exception. If you haven't already added your raspberries and blackberries, you can do it now. Now, we're mostly talking about those edible food crops today, but do be thinking about what kind of companion planting guild plants you want to put around your perennial edibles. They have a lot of 1-gallon flowering insectiary and beneficial plants, but I am more partial to getting the 4-inch pots. I would rather spend less money and wait a little bit longer to get my plant to mature. They have lots of traditional landscaping plants and decorative garden elements that you can add to your garden, as well as edibles. Keep in mind, you don't have to go for all edibles or all kind of a permaculture look. I love to mix that cottage garden look with permaculture design. For me, I want to retain those elements of traditional garden beauty as well as functionality. If you're considering adding one of their many kiwi varieties to your garden, be sure to check out my video on kiwi pruning. They have both hardy and fuzzy kiwis. Portland Nursery also has a really big stock of grapes, both wine and table grapes, grafted grapes, and there is a huge selection, so do your research before you go, because I think it can be really overwhelming to try and select a grape variety if you don't know what you're looking for going into it. But definitely this is a great place to find any kind of grape, and grapes do really well here in Portland, provided you prune them correctly and give them lots of air circulation so that fungal issues aren't a problem. Now, I prefer to order my fruit trees bare root or graft them myself and start when they're very young, and I do have to wait a while for fruit. But if you want more mature fruit trees, they do sell them here and they do deliver. Again, they have really helpful and informative signage. The folks at the information desk are also really knowledgeable and can answer all of your questions. Now, those of you that watch my channel know that I only have a 1/4 acre garden, so I really have to maximize my use of vertical space, and that means utilizing vines wherever I can. Not only those edible kiwi vines, but also things like akebia and other vining plants like sausage vine that bring in the pollinators and provide more habitat in my garden. Ruth just bought a petite passion flower that only gets about 15 feet, and we will be adding it to the front of our new greenhouse. If you're looking for more unusual fruits, Portland Nursery does carry them this time of year, but be aware they are kind of more seasonal. Things like sea buckthorn, which you can see here, goji berry, gumi berry, elderberry, all are stocked here in the early spring, and now is the time to go ahead and get those things in the ground. I do love permaculture, but I also really love that cottage garden look, and I am a sucker for the roses. Portland Nursery carries a very large selection of roses, including Dave and Austin roses and miniature roses. Ruth has spent the last couple of weeks helping pot them up and get the display set up. They have a huge selection, and it very quickly gets whittled down to almost nothing. Portlanders love their roses, so be sure and shop early if you are looking to add roses to your garden. And at the end of the rose season, they do put their roses half off, but the selection will be really limited. The far back greenhouse is the shade house, and in here you can find things this time of year like camellias, which are in bloom, and azaleas and rhododendrons. I'm not really into these kind of old-fashioned flowering shrubs. They don't really fit my aesthetic, but if you enjoy them, they do have them here. There are a lot of kind of underplanting companion plants for shade areas here. I know folks really love their heucheras because they come in such a stunning variety of colors. They also do have nice flowers. They also carry a lot of ferns, which are a great plant for shade areas and provide habitat for toads and newts. Now, I am a big sucker for gunnera. I wish I had room for this plant. It gets huge and requires very moist soil conditions. If I had a pond, I would be growing myself a gunnera because they're just such a beautiful specimen species. If you're looking for low-growing, early flowering plants around the base of your fruit trees, I highly recommend the anemones like Anemone blanda. I have a big patch of them around the base of my hazel tree. They were closing up shop, so I didn't get to do a comprehensive tour of the inside, but do know that they carry a large selection of seeds, including territorial seeds, both garden flowers and veggie seeds. Ruth just got off work, and hi. So real quick, what do you like about working at Portland Nursery, and what are your favorite plants or favorite things about Portland Nursery?
I love working around plants. It's a very good atmosphere, very nice aesthetic. I love working outdoors because then it's a good climate. It doesn't get like stuffy. I got a lot of sunshine.
Mm-hmm. And the rain doesn't bother you?
The rain doesn't bother me. Cold doesn't bother me. Snow doesn't bother me. Mostly heat bothers me, but they have misters when it gets hot out. A big one is artificial lights. I do not like artificial lights. And I love my coworkers. Everyone's really nice. Everyone's very helpful.
If someone were shopping at Portland Nursery right now, what in your department would you direct them to as to like, this is a good thing to be looking at adding to your garden right now in March?
Well, a good thing to plant right now is like grapes and strawberries. We're actually moving them around because we're getting in a ton of sun perennials right now. So they're being, the grapes and strawberries and other fruits are being shifted, but now is a really good time to plant those. We also just got a ton of roses in, so now would be the perfect time to buy roses because they're going very fast, but it took about 2 months to get them all like potted now, so now is the perfect time to get roses.
Great. Cool. We're going to head home and have dinner. Thank you for watching. I hope you will visit Portland Nursery, especially this location on Southeast Stark. The landscaping along the street is really stunning. The employees are really helpful. The selection is constantly changing, and they're a great locally owned business that supports a lot of good work in the community. I'll be back soon for my permaculture garden in Portland, Oregon. Thanks.